Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Real Point of View. My name is Greg Morgan, and I am the Real Movie Guy. And joining me tonight are the incomparable dynamic duo. We have the movie maven herself, Miss Karen D, and
Hello, hello.
the guy who doesn't pick a bad movie, Mr. Stephen C. How you guys doing? And welcome all of us and all of you to A Real Point of View. Tonight, we're going to talk about the upcoming Oscars. Wow, a lot of really good movies, I think, this year. In retrospect, to some of the past few years where you're trying to figure, maybe this, maybe that. No, no, not for sure. But I think there's actually a good showing of movies this year for that were nominated for Oscars. And so we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit. To give us a little perspective, typically, Karen sometimes has a few things to kind of add to get us going. Anything that and it's going to happen this time too.
Sure.
So anything out there that's it kind of puts everything in perspective as far as the hunt for the Oscar this year.
I'm not sure so much about perspective, but certainly I think this is going to be one of the more interesting years for Oscar. There are a couple of firsts. One is that Black Panther's been nominated, as probably anybody who hasn't been under a rock knows now. First superhero movie that's been nominated for an Academy Award. And that's pretty cool. And of course, that's causing some controversy too. But it has been nominated as well. Hannah Beachler was nominated for production design for Black Panther. She's the first African American to ever be nominated for production design for a feature film. So that's pretty cool. And Spike Lee has been nominated. This is his first Oscar nomination for Best Director. So, and I mean, there are times, I mean, in my opinion, his body of work, I mean, I would call him a great director, but his body of work can be uneven, in my opinion. I mean, he has some real clunkers in his repertoire, as well as some real, examples of brilliance. So anyway, Black Klansman has been nominated in several categories, film editing too, and one of the supporting actors was nominated for Black Klansman, and Spike Lee's been nominated, and not only for Best Director, but I believe also Best Screenplay. So, or Best Adapted Screenplay. So, so interesting there. And then you've got Netflix's entry, Roma, which has really been crushing it in other awards categories. I mean, it won Best Picture at the Golden Globes. It did pretty well at the Producers Guild award ceremony. And so I think it's certainly one of the favorites. And, and because it's from Netflix, I mean, it's pretty interesting that this film has done as well, because, I mean, theoretically, the Academy doesn't like Netflix. It's an interloper, it's an invader of some kind. So why that? Why that movie? But, it's still, certainly getting noticed. And then there's A Star is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. And that's been interesting because it didn't do nearly as well at the Golden Globes as people expected it to, didn't do as well at the Production Guild Awards, but it's still certainly ranking, it's certainly of interest, and it's expected to do pretty well at the Academy, but then again, who knows? And then there's Green Book, which has also been somewhat controversial. Mahershala Ali's been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Viggo Mortensen's been nominated for Best Lead Actor, and Green Book's been nominated for Best Picture. So, and that's done well in subsequent awards shows as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares on February 24th when the Academy Awards airs.
Sweet.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Oh, I doubt that very seriously. At least it was a nice beginning. Thanks, Karen. Well, it's kind of interesting too. You mentioned Bradley Cooper, but what about Rami Malek? I mean, we've got two singers in the leading role category. Bradley Cooper's A Star Is Born and Rami Malek's in Bohemian Rhapsody. And that's kind of an interesting thing. The movies with a lot of music are in the Academy Awards.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And then a guy who's missing an ear. Now that's really an interesting point there.
Who's missing an ear?
Willem Dafoe.
He's missing an ear?
Sure, because of who he's portraying in his movie, at Eternity's Gate. What famous artist is missing his ear?
Well, Vincent van Gogh, of course.
And he's playing Vincent van Gogh, so he's
I thought he was really missing an ear. I'm like, what the heck happened to him?
Not for real, but it's like, you got two singers and he can't hear it. So anyway. And what I thought was really interesting is Christian Bale. He's in here for Vice, and I did not know early on when I was watching those trailers that was Christian Bale playing the vice president in the movie. I had no clue that that's who that was. And then I saw a interview of him, and then I realized, I was like, man, talking about makeup, talking about carrying the weight literally of a bigger man, and he being such a smaller man in general. And then his accent is great, because you got to remember, Christian Bale's he's a Brit. So
yeah, we don't have American actors anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife said that too. So Steve, what do you think about the actors in the leading role category? Any surprises to you?
I don't know much about the Willem Dafoe is kind of the outside one. I never really heard much about Eternity's Gate. The Viggo Mortensen and Green Book, Rami Malek and Bradley Cooper. And if you heard anything from Bradley Cooper right now, A Star Is Born is the best movie of the year. I don't know what got into this man, but he's up and down that this is the best movie that's been made this year in several interviews. And I'm like, I like your enthusiasm. I doubt it, but I like your enthusiasm.
Makes it so. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I like Bradley Cooper. I like Lady Gaga, but you are trying to really get in there.
Well, you know what? Because he's like the productive.
Oh yeah, no, he's the guy.
He's like a director, so this is his movie,
Yeah.
So I get it, but I don't. He's gonna get it. Like
That's what I get for saying anything about him. Christian Bale as Vice, he looks the part. Oh my God, he looks the part.
He really does.
He sounds just like him too. So I'm interested to see if how they portray him shooting an intern or advisor or whatever. So I would enjoy that scene. I want to know how he was quail hunting and confused a 2-foot animal with a 6-foot human being. I want to know. That's just exciting.
You know what'll be interesting to me is you've got Christian Bale being nominated, rightfully so, for his portrayal of Dick Cheney in Vice, but I can't help but recall, and this is why I wonder whether Christian Bale will actually get the award. Does it come too closely on the heels of Gary Oldman winning for portraying Winston Churchill and I just lost the name of the movie.
Darkest Hour.
Yes, Darkest Hour, which I just love. But and did he just win last year for that?
Yeah.
For basically, like this, channeling the spirit, that spirit of Winston Churchill, dead on type portrayal of this, larger than life person.
Iconic. Yeah.
And so much larger in life that basically he was basically the fish that swallowed Pittsburgh. He just ate up the whole movie, and the rest of the movie just disappeared except for him. And after that, I just wonder if the Academy is going to go, in spite of the immense amount of talent required, I wonder if the Academy is going to go in the direction of another sort of embodiment of an historical figure.
Mm-hmm.
With the physical changes and the other changes that were required to pull it off. I just wonder.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Here's the thing for me too, with all the great portrayals of that are in each of these films that are being nominated. How we've got the leading actor, the supporting actor, leading actress, supporting actress, and how a movie like Black Panther can be nominated for Best Picture and nobody else be nominated for anything. Now, that could say that the ensemble cast was just a great cast all around, and not one person stood out. And yet, Bohemian Rhapsody, we know that's basically Freddie Mercury, an embodiment again of another iconic character in real life in Freddie Mercury for Bohemian Rhapsody. Everybody out there, many people out there are touting, Rami Malek's portrayal, saying it's just spot on. And again, he embodied the spirit and essence of Freddie Mercury. So the Academy seems to be recognizing these types of things. Obviously, last year with Gary Oldman, and then now this year with Rami Malek, and also with Christian Bale. I mean, wow, how often have we had a lot of portrayals like that being Academy worthy, and now we have even multiple people like that portraying real life people. So that's crazy.
But you bring up an interesting point, because Black Panther was nominated in multiple categories, but none having to do with people actually on the screen. Right. So to me, in my mind, that's going to be a problem for Black Panther in terms of winning. I don't expect it to win Best Picture, because Ryan Coogler was not nominated for Best Director. Given how director-driven film is, I don't know how you nominate a picture for Best Picture and you don't recognize the director as Best Director, because frankly, in the movies, you don't have a product unless you have a director. It is that director-driven, and it's the exact opposite of theater, which is very much actor-driven. But to me, I think that, Black Panther's got an uphill battle, in spite of the fact that the cast won Best Ensemble at the SAG Awards, which is really, awesome. I mean, for them, I guess I feel like I'm an advocate for the movie. I love this movie. I think it's awesome.
It's a really good movie.
So I was really happy to see that, but in spite of that, I don't think the SAG Awards carry the gravitas necessary to propel a picture into necessarily front runner status. That's almost like an aside. That's a nice aside. But is it going to win directors? The DGA, category? Is it going to win in the Producers Guild Awards? Who knows? I personally hope that Black Panther, after being nominated in several categories, does not only walk away with something that would just be completely insulting, like Best Costumes. I would really love to
more cerebral, right?
I would really love to see them, see that movie win something other than Best Costume. I'm just saying.
So going into this a little bit even deeper. So for me, this has been the last few years, I think. I always say his name wrong.
Ali.
Mahershala Ali. wow, he has been in everything, and he's in one of Steve's wanting to see favorite movies. I think opens this weekend um, as a villain, and he's clearly not that in Green Book. And he was a great villain, and Karen already mentioned Netflix in Luke Cage, and he was a great, an inspirational kind of person in
Moonlight.
which one?
No, Moonlighting.
Moonlight.
Moonlight. In Moonlight, and then
And Sinister and House of Cards.
and then he was also in the movie about the what was it called with the
Hidden Figures.
thank you, and Hidden Figures, and as this wonderful military guy. I mean, this guy is showing up everywhere and giving these really great performances, even if it's not a long performance. So his long and short has been really good, and I'm really liking this guy as an actor, and I like the portrayals that he's chosen to express his acting chops and all those different things that we just mentioned. And I think he's probably going to get this.
Oh, I think he's the lead for Best Supporting Actor.
Most definitely. So I actually got to see Green Book recently, and whether it's controversial or not, I enjoyed the movie. Cried a little bit here and there at certain aspects of it.
You cried?
Do I not breathe?
If you prick, do you not bleed? I know.
Can I not bleed?
Yada, yada, yada. Okay.
Can I not cry?
Apparently you can.
I don't need a drop if I have to cry. I can cry without that. There may be no crying in baseball, but there's crying in me.
And crying in movies, apparently.
Et tu, Brute? Do I not bleed? Okay, that's going backwards. All right, so yes, I'm not Caesar, but I eat Caesar salads every once in a while. So Green Book, I actually thought it was a pretty decent film. A movie that hit me that haven't seen, that haven't been something that I was even trying to see per se, although I don't think the premise is bad, and a movie that's nominated is Favorite.
The Favorite?
It has very little publicity that I've seen. It wasn't because if it wasn't for the Golden Globes, wouldn't have even known it existed. So what's your impression of that film, guys?
It's not going to be The Favorite.
That's what I'm saying. It may have to roam around. And I don't know if there's an open book, green or otherwise, for this film.
It's got two major strikes going against it. One, it's comedic. Two, it's women. And in spite of all of the noise that the Academy makes about diversity and being more open to, the wide expanse that we laughingly call art, they're not that open to comedies winning Best Picture. And they're not that open to women-driven vehicles where women's lives are the focus of the story taking the top spot. I don't see that changing this year.
Yeah, me either.
I just don't.
I can't disagree. The movie looks interesting. It's dealing with a part of history that we don't traditionally read about or hear about a lot. And I feel like that makes it not as viable winning as well as the comedy aspect in that sense, because this is not something where as soon as someone says a name, people can get behind it, or a part of history people can get behind. This is kind of one of those areas where it just kind of gets brushed to the side and no one really brings it up.
Do you think if it would have been Mary Queen of Scots, that it would have boasted even more positivity? Because seeming to me, that seemed like a movie that embodies as Karen was alluding to, the feminine aspect of women in film. That seemed to be much more assertive to me and seemed like a better film choice to me, but that's just me talking out loud.
I believe it would be a better film choice for the category, but I still think it suffers from the same problems Karen just talked about.
Yeah.
And
except for the comedic part.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, except for the comedic part. But that's kind of what would make it a better choice. One, you take the comedy aspect out of it. Two, you take the area of time where people don't really think about during that period. So,
Yeah.
I would think, I mean, the Mary Queen of Scots wasn't nominated. I mean, although on paper it fits very well within the Academy's sort of, fabric, because it's a grand, sweeping, epic type picture about larger than life figures. I mean, we don't, we're not generally hanging around queens very much. So they're, they still have that mysterious element, and it's a saga. It's a huge, great saga, but it is focusing on women, and you see it didn't even get nominated. Now that may be because of when it was released. It may have just been outside the window for Academy consideration. I'm not
Oh, no. It's nominated for 2 things. It's just that there are the things that you said you didn't want Black Panther to be known for. It's costumes and makeup. It got nominated for both of those things.
Oh, it did? Oh, I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries. But that's the sad thing to me, because I'm thinking the essence of what I had seen, and again, I haven't seen the movie, to be honest with you, but every trailer that I've seen, to me, still favors them over favorites, in my opinion. And so I thought that was rather interesting that it didn't get the more classical nod, because in those other things, and even production design, it's nominated. So, what happened to the dramatic?
oh my God.
I didn't scroll down to the end of my nominations list, so I completely missed those categories.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's also got 2 actresses in Best Supporting Role.
Oh, let's go back to
Because
that.
Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone are both in actress in a supporting role.
But that's for favorites.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. For favorite.
I know, it's crazy.
Where did this movie come from?
Exactly. And yet the portrayals in Mary Queen of Scots, I'm thinking, wow.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about dominant figures.
Well, not only that,
history.
Olivia Colman is nominated for lead actress for The Favorite.
Crazy.
How bad is that? How bad is Mary Queen of Scots?
It wasn't. I saw Mary Queen of Scots.
It
wasn't bad. It was excellent. I don't know what's going. But
Who did Margot Robbie piss off?
I can't say. Well, now there's a question.
Now there's a thought.
I can't say it's better than The Favorite, because I haven't seen The Favorite, and The Favorite looks interesting. I mean,
it does. It does.
Seeing The Favorite, but yeah, I mean, from like in the acting category, it's just like, wow, it is killing it. And but when it comes to the actually taking hardware home, The Favorite's not taking hardware home. It didn't take home. I mean, did it take home any Golden Globes?
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
Well, that is the thing about the Golden Globes. Like
they got nominated, but I don't think anybody got anything.
Right, I don't think so.
The Oscars does try to switch, so we may see something we didn't see coming.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Although lately,
you said that with such a Scottish accent, Steve.
Oh, that's because I got a cold.
I was supposed to say, Mary Queen of Scots is like, this could be something coming. And I'm thinking, beam me aboard, Scotty. Why can't we beam aboard Mary Queen of Scots and get it up there so we can see it and watch it very carefully?
Stop.
But what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Karen? It's a good
Scottish Embassy on line 1.
That's what I was trying to say. You hear me now? I think it's probably a pretty good film.
Yeah.
What do you see, Steve?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought too.
You've crossed the line I'm not willing to cross.
Right. The audience that we don't have, we're losing.
I saw what happened at the end of Braveheart, so you better watch yourself. Um, you know, Hold up. I win. I have won. That's game. We just stop the podcast right now. I win.
Yeah, you totally win.
Greg broke. I'm
That's funny. That's funny because I was like, Braveheart just went into my head.
Yeah, the whole movie, right?
like, wait, what happened at the? Oh no!
No, so I went, So back to me.
Yeah.
Wanting to survive right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be back to you.
Oh, that was good, Steve.
Hilarious. That was hilarious.
All right, bring me back to reality. Good chit chat. All righty.
Can we move on to the best director category?
Let's do that.
Because that, I was going to say before that, Steve and Greg, I think, lately the Golden Globes have been more of sort of like a harbinger of where the Oscars, where the Academy seems to be going. I mean, it's still kind of mixed, but they used to be like at opposite ends of the spectrum. Like 20 years ago, it's like whatever won the Golden Globe, you knew wasn't going to get anywhere near an Academy Award. Now they're sort of marching more closely together because I think the Hollywood Foreign Press Association has just become more serious. It's not, I mean, the Golden Globes used to be just like a chance to like get together and see your friends and have some dinner, get sloshed, and then, stumble up to a podium and grab some crap and go home. Mm-hmm. Now it's a much more serious endeavor because somebody decided that award shows mean something, I guess. And the Hollywood Foreign Press Association doesn't want their rep completely trashed by drunk actors and bad.
So people come out the bathroom kind of moments.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Right, exactly. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see if they continue to stroll down the lane together. But in terms of directors, best director, besides our first timer Spike Lee, we also have Paul Pawlikowski for Cold War. Mm-hmm. That's something else from left field because I don't think Cold War is nominated for much of anything else. And Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and then Adam McKay for Vice. So what do we think about this category, guys?
Well, I think just like anything else, the movie that's really out there and it seems to be becoming more and more of a favorite is Roma. So I'm thinking Alfonso Cuarón, how is it pronounced? Cuarón?
I don't know. I just threw out Cuarón, but who knows?
Alfonso.
Alphonse there. No disrespect, just bad phonetics on my end, but I'm thinking that he's a front runner then. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking. And so, again, another film, as you alluded to, with Cold War, that's out of left field. Don't even know it, never heard of it until today. Even though Spike Lee, as you alluded to, has his ups and downs, and from what everyone's saying, I haven't seen this either. It's a really good film. I just think Roma has got the what is it? The lion's share of interest. And
it's got momentum. It's definitely got plenty of
momentum. Definitely that.
Behind it.
And so I've seen a few trailers for it. It's interesting, but it didn't really just hit me as to the essence of it. They really leave out what's truly going on. It's going to be interesting there too. And even in the leading role, Roma has a leading actress too. So
Yalitza Aparicio, I guess.
Aparicio, right? Yeah.
Aparicio.
And yeah, so and that's a newcomer, and so it must be some wonderful performance. Basically, she's a domestic in the house of a doctor, and they're able to focus on her essence and what's going on in her life in this film. And so I don't know. Even Glenn Close in The Wife, that just came out of nowhere seemingly, and we were introduced to that in the Golden Globes. But everything that I've seen in the trailers has been really good with regard to her woman's scorn, I guess.
She's a brilliant actress. I just love her. And what you can't discount in terms of the Academy is just, I mean, there are people who are nominated every year who don't deserve to be nominated. There are people who don't get nominated who clearly deserve to be nominated. And even when you win, even the winner, when the chosen winner isn't necessarily the best person in that category all the time. I mean, sometimes people get awarded for body of work. And that's where Spike Lee could be a spoiler, because his picture, Black Klansman, is nominated for Best Picture, and he is nominated as Best Director. So he has a leg up on Ryan Coogler, you know, who wasn't nominated at all, but the picture was. And the same thing with a couple. Well, that's actually the big difference there. But I just, you know, and I guess what I'm wondering is, in the lead actress category, is it possible that Glenn Close could pick up that Academy Award? Not necessarily because of The Wife, because it's not setting the box office on fire. It's not like it's playing in all these. It's an art house film,
right?
But body of work, you know,
maybe
that could be it. I mean, that was why Paul Newman won for The Color of Money when he had no right to even touch the award for that train wreck of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He should have won for The Verdict. But he didn't. So there you go.
Yeah, interesting. And, you know, also, too, with Black Klansman, I failed to mention, it is also based off of a true story.
Mm-hmm.
So in the nominated pictures, we've got 3 or 4 that are based off of true stories, real people. So that itself may be one of the reasons why it's so prevalent and out there. So that's interesting in itself. So with that being said, what are the surprises that you think are going to happen? We've got a few minutes left here. What's going to be the surprise winners, guys?
I would be surprised if as many categories as The Favorite is in, if The Favorite took any of the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if The Favorite took Best Picture, that would be mind-blowing. If The Favorite got actress in a leading role, I feel like that would be also mind-blowing. Probably the biggest shot is the Best Supporting Actress, because it's got the 2 of them, and then maybe some of the small ones. And I would also be shocked if A Star is Born does amazing over some of these other good movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the only things that would shock me. Gotta make sure my earpiece is in, that way it doesn't fall out again because I badmouth Bradley Cooper.
But yeah, that's interesting. You know, and here he is, Vice being such a movie that is being touted as well. I would be surprised if, in the supporting role, if Sam Rockwell didn't get it for Vice, playing the President of the United States.
I don't think he's going to get it.
Yeah, it's just a surprise, if it was a surprise.
Yeah, right. That would be a surprise, because he was nominated. Didn't he win for 3 billboards from it? He's not going to win twice in a row.
Well, that would be the shocker.
That would be the shocker. I don't think it's going to happen.
And also in supporting role, Regina King. I think she probably is just as deserving. Would she win it? I don't know.
I don't think so. I wish she would, though, because she really is deserving. I think in supporting actor, I think Mahershala Ali is the runaway lead on that and most likely to win. I would be shocked if Richard Grant won for Can You Ever Forgive Me? Because I don't think I could. So I don't think, I don't expect, I would be shocked if that happened. And same thing with Adam Driver, not that he's not deserving, but we don't know who he is, to a certain extent. The people who win are people who are like well-known, not only in the industry, but well-known in the public, because that drives eyeballs to the screen. But in supporting actress, it would be, I would like to see Regina King win that one, but the spoiler could be Amy Adams. Like, we can't decide, so we'll just go with a known Amy Adams.
Now here's one for the books, and I'll be brief. In the animated feature film category, I am looking at Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse as the front runner in my mind, but I would be shocked if it didn't win.
Yeah, I hope it pulls it off, because that's just such an adorable picture. I just love it.
I can completely agree with you, Greg. That movie's head and shoulders above the other ones.
I think so too. Not by no means casting a horrible shadow on the other films. I just think that was,
except for Isle of Dogs. I am casting a horrible shadow on Isle of Dogs.
But I would be shocked if that doesn't win it. That would be the shock for me.
Yeah, it does.
So we've got a few minutes left. Anything out there that floats your boat that you really enjoyed that you saw?
I haven't seen anything lately.
Well, I definitely saw Green Book and enjoyed that, to be honest with you.
Well, just real quickly, do you think it's deserving of the Best Picture nom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Any movie that makes me cry makes me feel that it was emotional enough, the content was good, and the acting I thought was really good. So Michelle Ali is a stellar actor in my opinion, and I've always loved Viggo Mortensen. So yeah, I think it's a good film, and they did well in it. So that would be one of the better films to me. And I love Black Panther. I've seen it twice. And again, yes, cinematically it was great. All the cool things. And I'm a superhero fan from way back. So yeah, I'm pulling for it just because that's my comic book youth in coming to life, right? But at the same time, it's just a shock to me that someone other than the ensemble as a whole didn't get a nod from the nominations. But at the same time, then again, if it is a ensemble film, then yeah, it should still be up there.
Yeah, true that.
I can agree.
Sweet. How rare is that from you guys?
Yeah, I know.
Pretty freaking rare. We must have less than 1 minute.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Don't count chickens.
Yeah.
What you doing that for? That's inhumane. Quit counting chickens. Quit breaking stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is us talking about the Oscars. Who knows, we might talk about it again before they actually get here, because that's the 24th, is it, Karen?
Yep.
Of this month. So, get out there, see as many films as you can. We're going to definitely try to see some more before that time comes, and then maybe give you our opinions after the awards are given. But thanks for hanging out here with us on A Real Point of View. Check out our YouTube channel, also under A Real Point of View, to see other episodes that we've had discussing different films. And we look forward to having you join us again